Good evening to you, Harry.
Good evening, neighbor. How
How
you
you
doing?
doing, man?
I'm not too bad, you know.
Yeah, Harry. The NaRRA case continues unabated, um, and I see where the PNP, they're all over social media, and I even hear that, excuse me, that there's a petition that they're encouraging Jamaicans to sign to vote against the NaRRA bill. The NaRRA bill returns to the Parliament on Friday. I'm disappointed that it never got pushed through Friday gone, Harry. What is the PNP's problem with this bill, Harry? What is happening?
Neighbor, it really is for them. It's about their own existence. If the magnitude of this bill is one in which, when done right, because it will pass, neighbor.
Uh-huh. Okay. So we have Harry and we have
Yes, neighbor. You hearing me?
go ahead, yes, sir.
Right.
You're
So
saying you're saying the bill will pass.
it will pass, neighbor. By one way or the other, it will go through. It doesn't matter in terms of the how much delay the opposition want to try and put to it, but it will pass, neighbor. Whether that it goes to the standing committee, and if they want to go to court, it will be passed.
Uh-huh.
No, it is just about a matter of time, and I think that's a message I want the opposition to get from tonight. That they're delaying the inevitable. Reconstruction will happen with or without them. People's lives will be restored with or without them. Because we're in a state of Jamaica where Jamaica don't need the contribution in terms of the go ahead from the opposition to live their life and to build the lives they've dreamt of. It is a reason as to why September 3rd they got a resounding no. And this could also be a reason because they were rejected. They think they still have some level of power. I mean, from 14 to 28 in their eyes, it is strength. And I think they're mistaking, and I said it before, they're mistaking numbers for strength. That's not how it works, right? But they're delaying the inevitable. Time moves, the country will move on with or without them, neighbor.
Yeah.
We aren't seeking their approval to
Yeah.
achieve our goals anymore.
Yeah. So
What
this
we
has moved.
dream and how we go about it is no longer tied to them.
Okay, but this has moved from the parliamentarian, Harry, to the parliamentarians, to the supporters of the People's National Party, and these are Jamaicans too. And some of these supporters are from the very area or areas where the reconstruction is needed more or most. Are you telling me that the people are so brainwashed that they can't see through this, Harry? Why is it that the parliamentarians have been able to get their supporters in line with their position of saying no to supporting NaRRA? The PNP supporters are all over social media. I think much of them are in our chat right now. I'm trying to get some attention. What is happening in Jamaica? Why our people can't see that this is a moment that we ought not to miss? What is happening?
Let me clarify one thing first, neighbor. You see those in the chats or the
Yes,
ones who were never affected? Let's
they
not
were
fool
never
ourselves.
affected.
They're the ones typing from the comfort of diaspora countries from the Kingston region that never get hit. They are perfectly fine. Probably not even one nail off a roof or out as a fence was removed for them. So they can talk all they want, right? We have yet to see anybody who has been significantly impacted at this stage speak out and speak up. We have yet to see also the opposition consulting the people who have been affected. We would have mistaken this and all the opposition is putting a performance there, but that they are the very ones who were impacted because they seem to be crying and putting on a show more than those persons who lost houses, lost homes, lost businesses. And it is not, and this is the hardcore truth. and they have to live with it, or they want to believe it or not. These persons who we're seeing on these platforms, neighbor, are in the minority. And I'm challenging them
So
because you and I,
you're saying that pay no attention to the media presence, the social media bloggers, those who are coming out, they are in the minority.
they are in the minority, neighbor, right?
Well,
Because if, if and when we take to the streets and we ask, and I'm specifically targeting Westmoreland, you won't see this resounding thing that they're putting up as if they're unified to say no. Because I had a chit chat the other night on the weekend with a few of these people, and they can't speak about facts, but they run when the facts are being put out, when the truth is being, when they're confronted by the truth, right? And they have to regroup and come again with a different type of messaging. You don't try rebrand and restructure the truth. You say it
yes,
as it is. And the truth of the matter is that the people who needs NaRRA the most, which we know is the entire Jamaica, but those from the 5 parishes that were critically and faced the major damage, they want this bill to go through. The problem is that a lot of these people, not just in terms of being brainwashed, but they're also afraid to be vocal. Jamaica has come a far way where we're able to do programs like this because
yes,
before we couldn't, right? But you have a lot of people who they desire it, they want it. I've spoken to a few People's National Party person, and they're fine with the bill. They love the idea of it and what it will achieve.
yes,
What they can't understand is why is it being fronted in terms of a negative thing by the very people which they support. And now they're questioning whether those persons are not just acting in the best interest of Jamaica, but whether they're acting in the best interest of those who voted for them. Because there's a difference. That is the truth, the hardcore truth the opposition faces now. And one of the major things as well, neighbor, is that we are going to see a lot more theatrics. We're going to see a lot more performances because that is all that is remaining of the opposition as it stands. There's no real substance. There's no true desire to get people out there. One of the case in point, for example, neighbor, is I hear Lakeisha Burchell speaking of, persons who would have been affected and not considered, right? Or slow when it comes on to the roof program. As the member of parliament, if you wanted to help these persons, you wouldn't pick up your phone and start a video. You would have gone around in your constituency, get the names of these persons that I'm going to say allegedly, because she can't prove it all, no. So I'm going to say allegedly has not received any form of assistance as yet.
yes,
That is how you represent the people. You don't take up your phone and everything on TikTok and social media. You think a TikTok and social media vote for you? You have the lives and the recovery process of these people in your hand, their responsibility. And the first thing you do is take up a phone to shoot a TikTok video. You need to go and get the names of these persons that were affected and take it to the relevant ministry. That is what is required. And if you can't do that, then it shows that you are also, by that very lack of action, against the people themselves, just like how you're against the bill. And a bill that is filled with a lot of oversight and a lot of different framework that has held the country and governments of the past and present to account. What more do they want? Is it that because they're not getting their own way? Because I see today, there was a mockery as well, even with the opposition neighbor, calling point of order that was not applicable, right? And
yes.
as such, the speaker had to go ahead and read out the rules again. I think probably at this point in time,
Programming.
Hold on.
Well, good evening, Jamaica. We interrupt your regularly scheduled programming to.
I'm sorry about that. Harry, go ahead.
so it seems as if we have to now keep more classes for them to understand where they are and what is required of them, because they've been grossly mismanaged by some person we would want to say Master relative, but they've been grossly mismanaged by Margolin himself, who's not putting up any front of being a decent, much less one that have the capacity, the carrying capacity to be a leader. Right? It's like everybody do as they feel like, and he just sits back and take it because he can't get nobody chat in Jamaican terms. But the opposition themselves need to look within. And I think the people have to pressure them when it comes down to this. Not those who didn't vote, not the persons who voted for Jamaica Labour Party, but that 400,000 plus people that voted for them need to apply the pressure to say, listen, what is the benefit and the alternative to them saying no to this reconstruction?
Okay, I'm not seeing Joshua on YouTube. Moderator, tell me if he's there, because I'm not seeing. Harry, for the benefit of those persons who are still wondering what NaRRA is, would you take a minute or two and explain to us what is NaRRA about?
So NaRRA, forming from the abbreviation NaRRA, which is the National Reconstruction and Resilience Authority Act. At this moment, it's not yet legislation. It is the framework mechanism that will facilitate the fast tracking of major projects in the recovery. It is not a permanent legislation, right? It is not a permanent framework, so it won't be one in which we will always have. It is only for emergency situations like what we faced with Melissa, right? Hence why in its very build, it is structured to be renewed every 5 years if decide upon being renewed, because you don't have to. If you don't need it, you won't pull on it, right? So it is a framework that will be fast tracking a lot of the reconstruction, the redevelopment when it comes down to infrastructure. That entails communication lines such as road, waterways, housing will also be a part of it, and it groups development overall. Case in point, let me better explain what I mean by group. If the government is constructing a roadway going through, let's say from Westmoreland to Hanover, which would unlock lands and possibilities of NHT and developers, building houses, because that's also a concern that has been growing over time across several governments. What it does is that while the roadwork is being done and the submissions of major projects like housing, like businesses, right, centers and so on, those are separate. But what NaRRA does is, while individually these projects would have required to submit for approval separately, what NaRRA does is it pulls it together to ensure that these other development can come together under NaRRA. Of course, once it's $1 billion or more being spent, because that's what NaRRA is going to do, those major developments, and it helps push those development projects that normally takes 3 to 5 years just to get approved. NaRRA narrows it down so those construction can be done and are begin within a year, and then to go to completion. So it helps bring a holistic development framework. Nothing is done too much in isolation, hence why it is done in a centralized way. It has a CEO, right? And it helps group it in that manner, so we don't have to go through different frameworks. So you go from one ministry to another section, to another oversight, to another area, and by the time you're done, 4 years and nothing to do. It helps push it through to ensure that these critical projects, developmental projects that will not just give you infrastructure, but it gives you infrastructure that creates investment locally and internationally. It also helps free up capital base, because 2.3 billion of the $6.7 billion will be going to private sector, and they can only access it through projects that are approved by Parliament as well. So that is an oversight that the opposition has been afraid to speak of. NaRRA will also be answering to Parliament, not just a CEO as they want to put it. So the public will see. In addition to it, NaRRA has an entity where before any development is done, there will be a national movement where ministries, different stakeholders will be going around doing their analysis, getting critical information to know what development projects or what projects may drive development in specific areas that are applicable, that will bring growth to dead communities, that will revive dead areas, that will open up new avenues. We spoke, held at length regarding what is Hanover known for and so on. It opens up opportunities for that. That is what NaRRA brings, and that is how it outlays everything for Jamaica. And these are projects that will, because it's borrowed money, right? There are a few grants and charities in there, yes, but the majority of it is borrowed. These projects have to be able to give back a return. In layman's term, pay for itself. If you take $1, you're supposed to can pay back the dollar plus the interest. That is what NaRRA is built out to do, and do it at a faster pace. We have this money, or it will be given to us, depending on how we take it in tranches or stages, for 3 years. It is speeding up the development. And one of the key things I want people to know is that NaRRA is also freeing up the very government expenditure. The money that they have to drive capital investment and development that they have been unable to spend over several different administrations. So it's not unique to this administration being unable to spend its very own budget to drive growth. NaRRA will also unlock that for the government itself.
Okay, thank you so much, Harry.